Welcome to the Polar Homestead. We learn finance, permaculture and prepping, a modern view of the world. Don't forget, freedom is in your hands. Stay safe and vigilant, friends. And now your host, Ralph KK. Launch in 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Welcome to the apocalypse. Welcome to the podcast. With me today, Christine from Norway. Hello, Christine.
Hi guys. Hello guys, hello people. Very good day to you, good people.
Are you okay?
Just in a good mood today.
Okay, so how is your summer?
It's good. Summer is finally here, but we have a very rainy day today. So like I cannot enjoy the sun, and but still I like the weather like this.
But you're like your skin, it is so white. If you have like you get like some sun, you turn red.
Yes, indeed it's like this. I have to put on the sunscreen on my skin constantly, even if it is cloudy. Yeah.
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 How is that possible?
I don't know, just my skin is getting red, just even if the sun is hidden behind the clouds, there is some lights coming, and still like makes my skin irritated. So because
Wow, that sounds crazy.
Sorry, Mother Nature didn't give me like a normal skin, like a normal person.
Melanin.
Yeah, melanin, I don't have enough melanin.
You are not melanin reactive person.
I'm red hair, no melanin, like a lot of red hair people, they have this problem.
So the ginger nation, they are allergic to the sun, yeah?
I guess so.
Also, I suppose my grandparents. Yeah, I suppose it was my grandma. She also had like super white skin, and every time she went to South America, the sun there is like very bright and it's like very hot, yeah. So every time she went there to South America, she would just go outside like 10-20 minutes, and then she would go outside like white, like usual skin, and then 20 minutes later she would just come back like red, entirely red, and in pain and crying.
Yes, like this, and like in this case, like I just have to find my ways to survive. Like if I'm swimming, I not to put too much sunscreen, I can just wear something light just to cover my body, like for example, and constantly just put a new layer of the sunscreen. So to protect.
And you know what we used to say about the grandma when we were children? You know what we used to say? We used to say, "You look red like a shrimp."
Why?
Because she looked red like a shrimp.
Yeah. Maybe before, like you just didn't have such a advanced cosmetic against the sun, I suppose. Like right now, I just buy something like.
What were you talking about?
Right now, you can get yourself a cream. This is 100 and higher SPF.
Wow.
Yeah, so like it just completely blocks all the UV lights. So.
When I was a child, like 40 years ago, we only used to have up to 40 SPF or whatever. Up to 40.
So this is an explanation why your grandmother was red as a shrimp.
Red like a shrimp. And we used to make fun of her.
And right now you're making fun of me. Thank you very much. You're making fun of me.
Okay, whatever. So what do you think about the condition of the world today?
Total craziness.
Do you think that we have finally reached like the peak lunacy of existence in the human society?
I suppose we will be able to answer this question after this will start to go down, because you cannot understand did you reach a top or not, but it's already pretty intense.
Yeah, but when usually when something it reaches the peak of whatever it is, like you can see it like everywhere around you and everywhere in front of you. So right now, like you go to YouTube, like every third video, it is like the end is near, the crisis is here, total collapse of civilization. So every third video, it is like this. And so when the moment that the crisis starts, as it goes, so a few people start to talk about it, and then it's incremental until like everybody, like the whole society, people is talking about this. So I think that we're at the peak of the panic, of the mass panic of people.
I don't think that we're at the top, but people, they're crazy, they're panicking. It's true.
No, I mean maybe the crisis, like in reality, it is not so bad, but people psychologically, I think they reached like a peak somewhere.
Because when we speak of Europeans and Americans, they used to have pretty high standards of life. So like in case they don't have a baby formula, in case they don't have like some certain kind of cheese, which like according to them just make them like more imperfect, and only like this they can like have like a productive day after such a breakfast. Yeah, so the
avocado toast.
Avocado toast, so the day is ruined. So like if we look at the situation like from reasonable point of view, like you just have enough for now, just you can survive. It's not like life and death for now, but people, they lost some of their privileges in this life.
Yeah, but you know, like people in the first world, they are not used to this kind of life. Like people in the USA, people in Europe, they are used to comfort and to get what they want when they want it. They are not used to having like a crisis, and like today they have to eat some boiled pasta with some salt and oregano on top, and that's all. They are not used to this kind of life.
Maybe what I said sounds crazy, but what is happening from some kind of points, it's good, like because if you remember this experiment with the rats, when they put them in the perfect condition, and at the end they just like they got the males, they got this endless narcissism, and female, they just didn't want to reproduce anymore, and at the end just the whole population of these rats, they died. Yeah, so the humans, they are the same right now. They just got too comfortable, and this is like a shake, like something what maybe like they will realize it later, but this something what would refresh their life at the end, like the result will be something new. So like such crisis, it's good in the long term, according to me.
So you're saying that people need to have like some struggle in life to improve themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Just imagine for you, yeah, like just to drink your coffee every day, just don't care, yeah, like which kind of milk you have. You just every day 10 years. And you just already just don't notice how good it is. And then bam, and one day there is nothing. And then after like 1 month, 2 months of there is no such a milk or there is no coffee at all, you just grab this cup and you inhale this smell, and the life is perfect. So like this taste of life, if you are constantly like having it just constantly, you just don't notice this. So such crisis, it is good in the long term, just to understand how good life it is, the small things which you can appreciate.
So this is what Germans, they are learning today.
This is very hard lesson.
very hard lesson for our German friends in Germany.
Yeah, good luck, guys.
Good luck, guys, with one bag of pasta per customer at the supermarket.
It is too early to laugh. Maybe we are coming the same way, but yeah, like we will learn from your example.
Yeah, but the point is that so these people in very rich countries like Germany, Norway, I don't know, Sweden, Iceland, they have like a very high standards of living. So when these standards of living they are reduced and people start to struggle, then it is like very difficult for people in these places because they are not used to this.
Indeed, but like I say, it's all for good. You have to learn how to live in such a condition, and actually there is no yes or no, you just don't have a choice. We have the reality and we have to face it.
Like for example, people in India, every day they are struggling, like the majority. So every day it is a struggle. So even when conditions are hard, they just try to survive, to keep on going.
Yeah, I have nothing to add, like just it can be like any difficult condition, but there is an exit, there is a way just to survive through almost anything. And if you just compare yourself right now to these people in India or some countries in Africa, like your life is still perfect for them.
Yeah, people in Europe, their life is still perfect compared to somebody in Africa, because they have a home, they have food, they have heating, they have water.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like a lot of people in Africa, they don't have food and they are hungry.
Be grateful, yeah.
Yeah, be grateful, Europeans, because you still have pasta. It costs like 10 or 20 euros, but you still have pasta.
Yeah, like and the food will be getting more and more expensive. Like, so this is what I was talking about. You asked me, like, did we reach this peak of massive hysteria? So like, I still think that the prices, they're gonna get higher. We still don't know what will be the situation with the gasoline. Yeah. So like, and we just don't know. Like, people, they're still like kind of.
You know, like who was like J.P. Morgan? They said that the price of gasoline is going to be, or yeah, it was like the price of oil. It was going to be $200 or $300 per barrel. So gasoline would be like I don't know, $30 per gallon. Can you imagine $30 per gallon of gasoline? Can you imagine this?
Yeah, this is crazy. But at least for now, like our human rights, they're kind of still respected, like by the government and by other people.
What do you mean? Are we going into tyranny or something?
Yeah, like in case the prices, they're gonna get like very high, just unreasonable. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have like riots on the streets, like in Sri Lanka. Yeah.
Yeah, and for sure, like we have to expect that our rights, they will try to limit our rights, and so this what makes people behave like not in a very civilized way usually.
Like in Sri Lanka.
Like in Sri Lanka.
So somewhere like in Canada, we're gonna see like normal people like chasing politicians on the street.
You know, like people, they really change when they face something like they're running from the wolf. Yeah, this is not like the same people like which you would sit like together in the cafe and drink coffee. Yeah, just okay. You wanted to say something?
Do you know that? So there has been like several scientific studies about how the brain works when people don't eat. So when humans, when they don't eat for I don't know 3 days. After 3 days, their brain starts like regressing to like the primitive nature. So the longer you don't eat, the more backwards your brain goes. So eventually you end up like a reptilian. So your body is ruled by like primal instincts. So you see food, you attack and you try to eat it because you're like so hungry.
Gosh, it sounds too crazy.
Yeah, but it's true. It was like several scientific studies, and so your brain it regresses when the longer you go without food.
Also, like you just have to understand, like some people, they see like for example, they don't see steak on the shelf, yeah, in the shop. They don't see like greens, some kind of pasta, and they are like starting panicking. There is no food, there is nothing, I'm gonna die. but because of this, like in your previous when we met before, we were talking like how can you survive. So there is a way to eat like a lot of stuff in nature. Like you can eat this.
You can eat dandelions, bark. You mean bark from the trees?
Yeah. I was talking about this. I was just watching recently.
It's called
video from
wood jerky.
Yeah, this thing. I suppose the Canadian prepper or something.
Yeah.
This guy there with the big
The
muscle.
Canadian prepper.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's our savior.
I'm supposed he's almost the only one I'm watching because like I don't know, he's the less annoying of people.
Of all the preppers on YouTube, yeah.
I suppose he's the most neutral and reasonable, because I don't want to start my day listening from some bald guy with the crazy accent. People, we are gonna die. Save yourself. Go, like I don't know, like no, it's not for me. Sorry. And what is your favorite prepper guy?
Of course, the Canadian prepper. He's the most reasonable one compared to all the other crazy YouTubers which have like a crazy eyes. You know, they start the video with the crazy eyes, and you're like thinking like, should you believe what the people are saying or not, or they just look like too crazy?
Yeah. It's so it was mini advertisement for Mr. Canadian Prepper in your podcast.
Yeah, he needs to pay us like royalties here for promoting his channel.
Yeah, I suppose we mention him almost like every time because we were just both watching him. Yeah. So good day to you, Mr. Canadian Prepper. Okay, what else?
The bark from the trees, you can eat it. So there is like specific methods how to eat it, but you can eat. Like in the Second World War, yeah, like a lot of people who were hiding in the forest, they didn't have anything to eat. So you could hear stories from very old people that lived during these times. They would tell you that there was nothing to eat, and they had to eat like grass or herbs from the forest, or like go and try to eat the bark from the trees.
Yeah. Don't you think that it would be clever from these government channels and general television, like just to show people this kind of videos, like how to survive in case you don't have food? Why they don't do it?
This is like something cultural, I suppose. For example, most of the Nordic countries, they usually try to educate their population, like to be ready for emergencies. So in Nordic countries like Sweden, Iceland, Finland, so the government tries to educate like the population like a lot in this respect. So they teach them what to do in emergencies. So probably they are teaching them that they can eat the bark of the trees. Bark from the trees, yeah.
Yeah.
You boil it and you make like some kind of soup of tree bark, yeah.
Yeah, like in the morning you just come like, my dear husband, I prepared you some wood with some ants today.
You can actually eat ants, you know. You can eat insects. You can eat bugs. Like in Thailand, people they used to eat bugs, specific kinds of bugs, and some of them they are not even tasty, but they used to eat it. They are like hard, crunchy, whatever, and they used to eat it, even though they are not tasty.
Okay, I trust your word. Okay, you try. You tell me.
I've tried them. Bugs, they are like very tasty. The key is that they should be very dry and very salty.
Ooh.
Salty with like, I mean, you put like a lot of salt, like if you're like making like a dry meat.
Stop torturing me. I cannot listen to this. It's too much torture.
But in many countries, it's culturally acceptable to eat bugs.
In many countries, it is culturally culturally acceptable to eat cats, to eat dogs. Like, but I don't know. Like, this is just different country, different rules.
Giraffes, elephants, rats.
Yeah.
In Thailand, they eat rats. Do you know this?
I don't live in Thailand. Thanks.
Like field rats, you know, like in the field.
Yeah, people did snakes and different stuff. China, they eat everything.
Snakes are tasty. Snakes are tasty.
Sabes mi sentimiento, siente mi amor. No me dejes sufrir, mamá, quita mi dolor. Eso, coge lo que quieras, toma con razón. Lo que quieres te voy a dar, también mi corazón. Te voy a dar mi corazón. Dice eso, como te necesito. Te necesito. Te necesito. Por eso mira, escucha de nuevo. Por tu amor me muero y te voy a esperar, porque yo te necesito y siempre te voy a amar. Siempre te voy a amar, díselo. Mira, no me dejes solo, eres todo para mí. Eres todo lo que quiero, no hay más sin ti, no hay más sin ti, no, no hay más sin ti, porque te necesito, mi amor, te necesito, ay, yo te necesito, la verdad. Necesito tu amor, necesito tu amor, necesito tu amor. Sabes mi sentimiento, siente mi amor. No me dejes sufrir, mamá, quita mi dolor.
So did we reach top lunacy?
Like I said, I think that nope. We will see this when people they will face real problems.
But people, they are really like in big trouble today.
They are, but it is still like not a problem of surviving. This is the problem of being comfortable.
There was a video on TikTok, like it was trending today or yesterday about this guy. He's like a trucker in the USA. He was going around like a gas station and he was showing like a line of like 20 trucks or something, and he was showing the prices of the diesel, the gasoline, and he was showing that there was like two gas stations, 2 or 3, and they were empty. They didn't have any diesel to sell, and there was like the lines of cars waiting for the diesel because there was no diesel. So on top of the high prices, there is no fuel. What do you think about this?
I think that like they had to be prepared for this. Like, what did they expect in case they just like put all the sanctions like to Russia, who brings a lot of oil? Yeah, like this. Like everybody should have expected that it would like come one day. So it is here.
Maybe they should do what France is doing. You know what France is doing? They are buying Russian oil from India. So Russia is selling oil to India. In India they repack it and they make like a new mix. And then France is buying the Russian oil from India with a new presentation, like new brand.
I just think that they should already finish this freak show, okay? Like everybody knows what for, or like all of this was done, and I hope that this war machine finally had enough of this, and it just will finally finish, and everything would go to normal. Because like this, all of this is just temporary decisions. Like it cannot continue like this. Normal life is not possible without cooperation in this world.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. At this point, it is with the current situation. It is like it is a conflict of, and the winner is going to be the country or the team that can last longer in these painful conditions. Yeah. So the country that can stand like more pain is going to be the winner. And so far, like the USA and Europe, they are like in a lot of pain with the high food prices, high fuel prices, a scarcity of everything. So the question is like, are they like masochists or something? Do they like the pain? Do they want more pain? Do they want to continue with this? Like I don't know. Like the government needs to get to some point where they say like, oh, okay, this is enough. I'm tired of this. I need to do something else.
The point is that it is not about losing and about winning. I think like maybe it sounds crazy, but all of this what is happening with the disease, with the COVID-19, and then all this war stuff and all the sanctions and other stuff, like different issues between the countries. Like if we just look deeper, like it can you can think that they just try to justify, to explain the actions because of we know that what the scientist says, that it is not enough resources even for 30 years. Yes.
Yeah. Like there's no resources. Like everybody knows this. There are not enough resources.
So they have to decrease the amount of population. They need to decrease the amount of the stuff they're taking out from the soil. Yeah, in general. So like all of this just to justify their actions. So because of this, I'm telling that there are no winners and losers in this game. This is just I don't know, like the chain the events, which would be like anyways happen in case not war than something else, like in case this thing didn't work out how they wanted, so like the war is here. In case it will be also not the result they want, like have to expect what monkey jumps flu or whatever, like what is the next like
What, the monkey flu?
no, you said like
the monkey flu.
Yeah, like so like what, maybe this is the next disease that just to explain why a lot of people dies and why they're suffering.
Well, yeah, but you know, like, I mean, if people really wanted, like, everybody could just be friends and get along with each other and try to, like, improve this world, try to improve the earth, try to make it life better for everybody. Like, supposedly, according to research, so there has been famine in Africa for more than, I don't know, 50 years. So according to researchers and models of all the hunger in Africa, it could be solved because we have the money and we have the technology to give food to everybody. So it is not a question of if we can do it or not. It is a question of if we have the willpower to do it or the desire to do it, because like I said, everybody could just try to be friends, like shake hands and try to solve problems together. But the thing is that so like different countries, they have their own agendas and they want to do their things their own way instead of trying to be friends and try to solve problems.
Yeah, like you said, there just to be friends, it is not possible, at least in the current situation, because some countries, at least some leaders or government of some countries, they just feel too much superior over other countries, you know, that I don't know, to Africa they just took and they just like don't care.
So you're saying that like politicians sometimes they follow their own policies and it's based on ego, like about how they feel about themselves or their own country, and they are not realistic. So today's conflict, you could say that is about ego.
This is not just even realistic, you know, like to understand this, you need some kind of believe in a real life. So like they are born, they like finish universities, they have everything in life. So they just don't know this problem like just face to face. They don't realize it maybe.
Well, yeah, sure. This is like another problem also, that most politicians, like let's say 90% of politicians, they are born like to rich families, and they always have everything they want, everything they need. So they are not the concerns of the general population. It doesn't touch them.
Yeah, no, this is the first point. And the second why I think that just for now we are not ready to be friends with everybody, just because of a lot of disinformation and propaganda in social media. We are very superstitious and have a bunch of like wrong ideas about other people, other countries, other nations' mentality, like about their life. So like we cannot accept like different countries, they have their own people they don't like, but not because they have been some of these people they haven't even been in these countries, but they're watching like YouTube or social media, especially the social the government channels, yeah, and they just think that they know everything about these like nations, and they think no, I don't like it, like I don't want to be friends with them. So like and I think that for people, first of all, people they have to learn how to understand each other better, to talk to each other, like not just listen to somebody else's bullshit. So in this case, like so the point is that these people they wouldn't believe all the nonsense the general television says, and just to try to find out the truth by themselves.
Okay, but right now in the current world that we live in, you know, we're at a point in time where governments and countries, they cannot be selfish, they cannot just try to dominate everybody else, because the environment is collapsing, is like in a very bad shape. So either all humans, they try to be friends and they try to survive together, or it's going to be very difficult for like everybody, and a lot of people they are going to suffer because the environment is collapsing.
For this, you need like to be on the top of the government, like the presidents, the leaders have to be like young president, not young.
Yeah.
So like not the dinosaurs who's like maybe like 10 years last to live. So they just don't care what happens.
Yeah. And this topic is like trending online. Like a lot of people they are talking about it. That why do we have leaders who are like 70-year-old people, 80-year-old people, like the senators, the presidents? Why do we have so many old people in government that their mind, they don't see things as they are now, because they have like these old ideologies. Also their brains, they are old, they just don't work the same, and their interests, they are not the same as the younger generation. So why do we have these very old people in government trying to take care of a country? Why? This topic is trending. A lot of people they are starting to wake up to this.
Also, like maybe they're trying to just to explain it because they have like very big life experience. They're like in policy like already for their hundreds, like 80 years, yeah. But the point is that the world is constantly changing. Like the world right now, it is not like how it used to be like 20 years ago. We just face different problems. We have like we have different reality.
Which 20 years? These dinosaurs who are like 80-year-old people, they live in the 50s or in the 60s. They live in an era where the world was completely different. They just got stuck there and they cannot see the world how it is today.
Yeah, and also what I want to add to your words, that a lot of these people they went through the Second World War even, yeah, some of them, and after this, like all this went like these different conflicts which like were happening.
Well, I'm not sure about the Second World War because it finished in 1945.
Cold War after this.
Okay, the Cold War. Yeah, a lot of people of these politicians they lived through the Cold War, so they have this mentality that the West is good and then everybody else is bad. They have this mentality.
So this what I'm saying, they have some kind of of agenda, like I don't know, like some kind of stereotype.
Ideology, you could say ideology.
Ideology. So and they just look through this like a colored glass here, like this. They see like everything with some kind of skepticism, like with some kind of very very narrow vision.
Like for example, a lot of these politicians in the US government, which are 60, 70, 80 years old, they see Russia as the Soviet Union still, even though the Soviet Union collapsed more than 40 years ago. It was the 80s. So the Soviet Union collapsed 40 years ago. And these people in the US government, they still see Russia as this communist country, which this died 40 years ago.
And also like they put all of this information on the TV, and people, they tend to believe it, like even
This is called brainwashing.
yeah, brainwashing. And they even haven't visited, like for example, Russia. Yeah, we're talking about Russia.
Yeah, and also this is funny, like so these politicians, they have never been in their lives in Russia. They have not seen the country, how modern it is. A lot of them, they have ever not even been outside of the USA. A lot of these politicians, they have never been outside of the USA. Can you imagine this?
And you, how many times have you been to Russia?
Me, I have been everywhere in the world, many places.
So, and what is your opinion as a foreigner? Like, how much is the difference for what they show on the TV and the reality?
It is not true. It is not everything that they show on television about Russia like a communist country. This is absolutely not true. You go to Moscow today. There is skyscrapers. There is business areas. Everybody's like wearing a suit, and you can see on the street like Lamborghinis, whatever. This you would never see it in the Soviet Union, for example. You would never see like some guy in a suit working in finance driving a Lamborghini on the street. You would never see this in the Soviet Union.
And we are talking not only about Russia. This is like an example.
Also about China, like
China, yeah.
all
Yeah.
the India, China, the way that the West portrays these countries, this is not realistic and not true. And all these politicians that lead the policy in the USA, in Europe, a lot of them, they have never been in Russia or India or China. They barely been out of their village in their own in their own country, and they want to tell people that, oh yeah, you know, that country over there, it is bad, you know, because it is my idea, even though I've never been there, you know.
And not only about the economical situation, like also like about how they just try to portray like the people, their behavior, yeah, like some kind of phobia of Russian, of Indians, of
Like if you see American films, when there is something happening, like in Russia, they put it like there is like a bears walking on the street, or there is like a snow falling, and everything is like cold, snowy, dark, with buildings falling apart, and some angry grandma there walking on the street or whatever. This is what you see in films.
This is so much pathetic that I hope that people, they're reasonable enough to understand what's true and what's not. Also, like my
Also, for example, about India, they only show India like a poor country. They always show the ghettos in India and poor people on the street like asking for money or for food. This does exist in India, but it is not like this. You go to the big cities, and also you see skyscrapers, you see people driving Lamborghinis, whatever. So all these ideas that you get in the West, sometimes they're absolutely not true.
Yes, disagree.
So you think that the current situation that the world is going through, this was caused by ego of the Western leaders? Something like modern colonialism.
Yeah, like this is quite possible. Like they just feel themselves too much.
They still feel themselves superior, like like the USA, Europe, let's say Canada, England. They see themselves still as superior nations compared to everybody else. You think this is the problem?
Yes, it is. It is the problem, and the second problem, what I said, that people, they tend to believe what the government says. They don't do their own research. You just have to understand that there are bad and good people in each country, in each culture. You just cannot be absolutely good or absolutely bad. There is something in the middle, and we also, like you and me, we are part of this, yeah, like part of the Western society. But like we are trying to be reasonable about this, and some people, they just blindly believe what the government says. And
But there is a lot of people waking up to these facts, like mostly young people. They don't watch mainstream media. They don't watch. Well, we don't want to say the names, but you know which TV stations. You know which TV stations. Like young people, they don't watch any of these. Let's say fake news on television. So a lot of young people, they see the world completely different to what the older generation do. As the older generation, they still watch like TV networks, for example. So there is like a big divide between old and young. So the younger generation, they do everything online.
yeah, but also, like all these people who makes this video on YouTube from the beginning.
A lot of this, like a lot of this information that you see on YouTube, this is just sometimes it is fake news or bots sponsored by the government. So if you see some fake news, sometimes this is sponsored by the government.
Yeah, but still, like young people also, they also see this, and some people, they are also bringing you information through the YouTube after they were already brainwashed. So like you can find any kind of information there. So we cannot say that people who doesn't watch the general TV, they're absolutely clean.
But there is different levels of being brainwashed, you know. Like if you watch like TV networks, this is like 100% being brainwashed. And if you watch stuff on YouTube, for example, then there are different levels, and the younger generation, they are like at the lowest level of being brainwashed. Let's say this.
Okay, I believe you. What? Which level of brainwashing do you prefer?
I prefer a level of less than 10% brainwashing. Okay, so what is your suggestion for our listeners? What should they do to survive the zombie apocalypse?
So we were talking about
like right now, today, what people should do? Like there is, the food is expensive, is going through the roof. There is no gasoline. The salaries they're not keeping up with inflation. There is insecurity. Like next year, you don't know what's going to happen next year. So, what should people do?
I think that people, they have to keep their mind open, first of all, for all the information and good and bad what is happening. The point is that it would be like true information, and try to push the leaders, the government, because like when we are together we can change things, yeah. So we should try to push them to the right way of the solving all this stuff, because yeah, like this is the ambition, but the point is that usual, like general people, like I mean all the people, they're suffering.
What, together like friends?
Together like friends.
Everybody together like friends, living in peace. Like we're in the 60s and we're like hippies or something, yeah? So we have, they need to make the new renaissance of the hippie era, yeah? 2022, new hippie era.
You just have to like stop this stupid like dividing between Western and East.
Division
between Western and Eastern countries, and just get rid of this wrong ideology, and stop supporting this wrong ideology.
Yeah, but I don't know, maybe it is too late for this already.
Maybe, but do you have any other suggestion?
Because the lines, like today, the lines, they're like very, 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 very clear lines, and big divisions exist today. I don't know, it would take like a lot of the effort to try to fix these huge divisions that exist today, that were not here 4 months ago, for example.
Yeah, but like if you see, like this is mostly the influence of USA for this. Like Europe, it is kind of okay. It is not that much far from from understanding. I don't know, like just like several years ago it was just okay. It was not perfect, but it was okay, yeah. But this is like pulling the wagon to different directions, to the east and to the west, yeah, somewhere in the middle.
Okay, so Christine from Norway, it is time to go. Say goodbye to your audience.
Goodbye, audience. Good luck to you.
Sin tus caderas no puedo cantar, sin tus caderas no puedo gozar, sin tus caderas y movimiento mi ritmo y música va a parar, sin tu cadera mi melodía no vale nada, sin tus caderas mi ritmo no se llama el son. Sin tus caderas no hay fiesta, no hay ron. Sin tus caderas, sin movimiento, mi ritmo y música va a parar. Sin tu cadera, mi melodía no vale nada. Ay, 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 pa' la sierra. Muévete, mami, ahora muévete, muévete. Sin tus caderas no puedo bailar, sin tus caderas no puedo gozar. Muévete, mami, ahora muévete, muévete. Ay, muévete, mami, ahora muévete.
Welcome to the Polar Homestead. We learn finance, permaculture and prepping, a modern view of the world. Don't forget, freedom is in your hands. Stay safe and vigilant, friends. And now your host, Ralph KK. Launch in 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Welcome to the apocalypse. My fellow humans, it is time. The apocalypse is upon us. It is time to go outside and fight the zombie hordes and try and get some pasta from the shop or some, I don't know, cookies or something. The main point here is that the apocalypse is upon us. Prepare. We are surely going into some kind of Mad Max territory. Especially looking at the fuel prices, the gasoline, the diesel, they keep going up through the roof, the prices. If you remember, or if you've ever watched the first Mad Max film, yeah, with what's the name of this actor, Mel Gibson, yeah. This film is like 40 years old, I think. Okay, so if you watch this film, this is kind of the way that it started. There was some kind of economic collapse, and then the fuel prices, they just kept going up until everything collapsed, and then people were fighting over fuel. So maybe we are in some kind of alternative reality where the vision of Mad Max, this is happening in front of our eyes. Prepare now. Have you got your water and bags of pasta and your plastic container to gather fuel from other cars on the highway or something? I don't know. Anyways, today's topic, it is Bitcoin. The collapse and death of Bitcoin finally is upon us. Hey, yeah, that is just a joke. This is just clickbait. Clickbait, bros. You know, like mainstream media, like every 6 months or every year, they come out with these headlines, big letters. You know, it says Bitcoin is dead. Bitcoin is finally dead. Bitcoin finally has crashed and it's going towards zero. Or Bitcoin has had a rundown of minus 80% and 90%. Bitcoin is on the last steps, on its last legs. And you know, mainstream media, they just like to repeat this over and over. And for 12 years, they have said this every 6 months, every year, continuously. And it's just kind of funny, you know, because people who are not involved in cryptocurrency, which are like outsiders, like the average citizen, they live their usual lives, so they are not in touch with the market. And when they see these headlines, they believe it. They are like, oh no, bro, Bitcoin is dying. What do we do, bro? No, Bitcoin is dying. I should not buy this. It is dangerous. Also, mainstream media, you know, they like to portray Bitcoin as some kind of a shady thing for criminals, or like some shady alternative digital crazy currency for hackers or something. Or at least for the last 10 years, they try to portray Bitcoin something like this, like some kind of money used for criminals. Today, after 12 years, the people who don't like Bitcoin, yeah, they're trying to rebrand this as Bitcoin being something bad for the environment. Because, you know, like all these miners, they are like burning down the earth. The machines they are running constantly, they are mining Bitcoin, and they are using the whole energy of the whole sun just to mine Bitcoin. So this is I would say the second decade rebrand. So because Bitcoin has now become like a whole lot more popular, and it's going mainstream, yeah. So now it is not used by criminals. Now it is used by people with who doesn't care about the environment, yeah. Like people who don't have morals to protect the environment, because they are using Bitcoin, they are contributing to the destruction of the environment. Or so this is what the mainstream media, they want to say now. So you use Bitcoin, you are destroying the environment, bro. This is bad. So, what does Bitcoin represent? This is the century-old question. Bitcoin, it represents freedom. Who created Bitcoin? It was this guy or group called Satoshi Nakamoto. The year was 2009. And the funny thing, yeah, it is that Bitcoin was created after the last financial crisis, which almost destroyed the world economy. The financial markets, the housing market, it was the markets, or the whole system was on the brink of collapse. And this was 2008. And the government, it came in and it bailed out everybody. The banks, the corporations, used everybody. They used to start and giving out money, buying stocks, buying things, the government, and they saved the system. So then after this, this guy, Satoshi Nakamoto, he came out and he said, no more, I shall create a system which is not attached, or it is dependent of the current system, or an alternative system, or a new system to replace the current dirty financial system. So this was the idea behind Satoshi Nakamoto. He was Satoshi Nakamoto-san. はい、そうです。ありがとうございます。Okay, anyways. So the idea of Bitcoin was to be some kind of replacement or alternative financial system to the one that already existed. And at the beginning, the governments, the banks, they were just laughing at it. They didn't take Bitcoin seriously. They thought, oh yeah, some kind of cute idea, but yeah, it will just die. It is not a threat to us. But Bitcoin, it kept growing and growing and growing. And after 1 year, 2 years, it had become quite popular among, you could say, the first users were cypherpunks and geeks and computer nerds, and people who saw the possibility of something new being created. So these true believers of what Bitcoin represented, they started to create and to build the system, the market. And then let's say 2009, 10, 2011. By 2011, it was already established like some kind of currency, and at that time, it indeed was used by online criminals. There was this online marketplace on the dark web called the Silk Road. There you could buy or sell any kinds of illegal stuff. It was a decentralized market, you could say, on the dark web, and there you had to pay with Bitcoin. This was the first use case. So by 2011, so like the banks and the government, they already saw Bitcoin as a threat. And from that point on, they started a low-key attack against Bitcoin. Low-key eventually turning like a full-on attack on Bitcoin. So today, the day is June 20, the year 2022, and Bitcoin has collapsed, or so they say. The last price was almost 70,000. The top, you would say, of this cycle was 70,000, and today it is, in the morning it was around $18,000. So what is so special about Bitcoin? It's a decentralized currency. Yeah, today it is a currency. Whether the world governments like it or not, Bitcoin has become a mainstream currency, an alternative to the traditional financial system. So what is so special about it? Well, first there is 21 million coins. This is the total amount that there will ever be. And according to estimates, around approximately 5 million coins have been lost permanently. So in reality, it is not 21 million coins, it should be something around 15 million coins. This is the maximum supply there will ever be. Also, the network, it is decentralized. Decentralized, it means that it is the nodes they mine Bitcoin, or they host the node all around the world in different places. Decentralized, it means that there is not just one person in charge of this. There is several hundreds, thousands of people hosting a node or mining Bitcoin. Also, there is the wrong idea that for the Bitcoin network to exist, you need to be continuously mining it. This is a misconception spread by the mainstream media, you would say. So you don't need to mine Bitcoin to keep the network alive. You can use host a node. The action itself, it's something very simple. So there is one kind of official Bitcoin wallet. You go to bitcoin.org, you download the wallet, and then this will sync with the network. Currently a full node is something like 2 gigabytes, I think. So you have to sync with the network. This means that you download all the transaction history from the other nodes to your node. So once you downloaded everything, you can become a node and start confirming the transactions of other people. You don't mine Bitcoin, you don't get paid for this, but you host the network. So it means you can just run a node and keep the network alive, you could say. Also, there is the misconception that you need a very strong computer or some powerful machine to mine Bitcoin. To host a node, you can do it on the weakest kind of computers you can find. You can even do it on a Raspberry Pi. And these mini computers, or the Raspberry Pi, they consume something around 10 watts of electricity, or even 15 watts maximum. So this misconception that Bitcoin is burning down the earth, that you could say this is just falsehood spread by the mainstream media. Which you should ask yourself this question: who is behind the mainstream media? Which people, which powers, which governments are trying to push this misinformation? So what's special about Bitcoin? So it is decentralized. There is a limit of 21 million coins. And check this out. Every 4 years there is an event called the halvening, and every 4 years the reward paid to the miners is cut in half. Today, the year 2022, the current reward, it's something like 900 coins per day. So the miners worldwide, in the whole world, they only get paid 900 coins, or around 900 coins. So every 4 years, this reward gets cut in half. So the next halving is going to be in 2024. So instead of 900 coins, it's going to be around 450 coins in 2024. Then in 2028, this for 450 coins per day, you split in half. This is like 225 by 2028. And then in 2032, per day, in the whole world is going to be mined something like 115 coins per day for the whole world. This is something very incredible, I would say, because it makes Bitcoin the most deflationary currency or asset in the whole world ever created, you could say. And the powers that be, they don't like this at all. Now that Bitcoin is mainstream, it has become a big threat. So you could say that what you see today happening, that the whole crypto market is crashing and Bitcoin is like going very, very, very low. The question should be, why is this happening? Is it because people are panicking? Or is it because of something else? Because it's not only the cryptocurrency market that is crashing, we also have, literally everything is crashing. The housing market, the stocks, bonds, currencies, everything is going down to zero. And check this out, I will tell you some very interesting fact that not many people know about or not many people understand. In finance or in financial markets, you can buy assets in a spot or in futures. A spot, it means that is like the physical thing, like the real thing, yeah? Futures, this means that you also call it a synthetic. Future synthetic. It means that it is not real. You're buying like a contract for the real thing. In financial markets. So check this out. Very suspiciously, the Bitcoin ETF, which is the spot market for big players, the Bitcoin ETF has been denied by the US government for around something like 7 years, I suppose, at least that I can remember. For 7 years, the Bitcoin ETF has been denied, and not just one application. There is like dozens, hundreds even of applications for a Bitcoin ETF made by different institutions or corporations. A lot of people, they want a Bitcoin ETF so that you could say that big players can start investing and buying Bitcoin, but it has been denied for over 7 years. And why is this, you might say? Well, when you buy like a physical asset or the real thing, this would affect the supply and the price of such thing. But with futures, which is synthetic, which is a contract, which is not real, if you buy futures, this rarely affects the price or the supply. And also you can manipulate the price with futures, because you create contracts, you can create a lot of contracts for something that doesn't exist. So check this out. Very suspiciously, it was around 1 year, 2 years ago, contracts were approved by the US government, by the SEC. So you can buy synthetic Bitcoin or futures Bitcoin. You can long, you can short, or you can buy X number of contracts of futures of Bitcoin. So very suspiciously, this was approved 1 or 2 years ago. And also very suspiciously, the Bitcoin spot ETF has been denied for the last year and the last 2 years, very suspiciously. with no reason or no reason at all, or it has been prolonged or delayed the answer so that the government can just drag this for as long as possible in order not to approve the ETF. Currently, there is no reason for the SEC to deny the Bitcoin ETF, the spot ETF. So there is a couple of companies that are getting ready to sue, to go to court against the SEC against this decision that they continue to deny the ETF with no reason, because this is manipulation. So getting to the point here, the current crash, the current crisis, it is most likely a fabricated crisis. By the way, it's not me the only one saying this. If you go to YouTube, you go online, there is a lot of people saying that probably all of this crash, all of this situation, everything is being created by the government in order to destroy everything and then to introduce a CBDC, or a central bank digital currency. So something like a digital dollar, yeah? So the rumor that's going out there is that this crash, which is completely terrible, completely awful, the cryptocurrency market is like in really bad shape. So this crash was created so that most people think that you cannot trust crypto, you cannot trust Bitcoin, you cannot trust this market because it is not safe. You know what they say out there? You create a problem and then you come back with the solution. So you cannot trust Bitcoin, but hold on, my friends, you can trust my CBDC because it is backed by the government, you know, and the government, we got the taxes, we got the military, and you can trust us because we are the government, you know. But no, Bitcoin is bad. You should not trust Bitcoin, even though it is decentralized, you know, like Bitcoin is used by hackers and criminals, and now it is destroying the environment, you know. So this is how it goes. Anyways, people who have been in crypto for 10 years, 12 years, these veterans, they are not panicking. They are holding steady to build the network and to keep on going. So remember, my friends, the next halvening is going to be in 2024, and most likely the next bull market will be in 2025. And remember, you buy Bitcoin today, and in 10 years, the mining rewards will be 4 times less. So today the mining rewards, they are 900, and by 2032 they will be 115. Just remember this. And that is all for today. And I will see you next week. Goodbye. Don't forget to survive the zombie apocalypse.
On the floor, looking up, wanting more. This is so unreal. I must have been wrong, 'cause your love is strong for him. Why would it not be? He's all the ground left me on the floor. Hard to resist, got me looking like this, like no one before. 'Cause I must be strong, 'cause this might go on for long. 'Cause I was wrong, and he's always there for you. I keep living alone, way so far from home. Free, but ready to flee from this all. Hard to be standing on your own. Hard to be standing on your own. Left on the floor, looking up, wanting more. This is so unreal. Out of my mind, how could I be so blind? How could I not see? I must have been wrong, 'cause your love is strong for him.
Welcome to the Polar Homestead. We learn finance, permaculture and prepping, a modern view of the world. Don't forget, freedom is in your hands. Stay safe and vigilant, friends. And now your host, Ralph KK. Launch in 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Welcome to the apocalypse. Hey, beautiful people, what is happening today? My fellow humans, the apocalypse is here again. Or so we say every day, because the apocalypse is always here. So here it goes. Welcome to the apocalypse. So I would say we are like halfway through the summer. The potatoes, they are growing. I've got all kinds of herbs and greens in the garden. I've got cilantro, I've got parsley, I've got some rucola, kale, the magical kale that you put it in the ground and it just grows everywhere like a weed. So I suppose we have something like 2 months left of the growing season. By now most of the fruits there, or the fruit trees there, most of them, they are pollinated, they got fruits, they are growing. They are halfway through. The berry bushes, they are also halfway through. I would say that in around something like maybe 2 weeks, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, all my berry bushes, all the fruits there, all the berries, they will become ripe, ready to be taken and eaten. So today in the news, besides all the financial crisis and financial depression, contagion that is happening all around, today we have something like a big event happening. Unprecedented event that has not happened for more than 100 years. Today it seems that apparently Russia has defaulted on its foreign debt. This has not happened since the Bolshevik Revolution, more than 100 years ago. So it seems that they will not be able to pay the money because of the sanctions. It's not that they don't have the money, it is that the West is blocking them from paying the money. So the West is forcing Russia to a default. And the consequences of this are unknown. We do not know what is going to happen. I mean, we don't really know what dominoes are going to fall after this. There will be contagion and it will spread all around. But like I said, nobody really knows what's going to happen. So today, June 27, 2022, the day where the default will be officially declared, we will see what is going to happen in the coming days. But nobody knows what is going to happen. There is some kind of big suspense going all around. It's a mystery. Today also in the news we have several articles talking about the military build-up in the near Taiwan in the Pacific by China. So there's a couple of articles today out there that say that there is a huge build-up in all areas of the military, of the Chinese military, and they're starting to, how could you say, to put more troops, you could say, near Taiwan for a maybe future invasion. So that is concerning. I don't know, but everything that is happening, it gives me something like low-key World War III vibes, you know. And what can the average citizen and what can the average citizen do in these circumstances? What should normal people do? I would say just grab your potatoes and start growing your potatoes. Your best chance of survival is potatoes. Remember, it is something like a 1-to-10 ratio of potato production. So in theory, you put 1 potato in the dirt, and then in 100 days, you get 10 potatoes back. This is something like a good financial investment, potato investment. By the way, this year I'm trying to do something new, something radical. I am trying to grow corn in containers inside my little glass terrace. And so far, so good. Sometimes corn can be like a very forgiving plant. I mean, you can overwater it, you can underwater it, you can just put it in the sun in a very hot place, and most of the time it is okay. I would say the only problem, or the nemesis of corn, it is frost. Frostbite. This can totally kill a plant. So outside of frost, so corn would just, or can survive anything just outside of frost. And even growing in containers. So let's see how that little experiment goes. Like, I don't know, but everything around, like society, seems to be somehow collapsing. The financial markets, I mean, they are so terrible, like you don't even want to talk about it. also the cryptocurrency market, it is so terrible you don't even want to look at it or hear about it, because it is like so terrible. Bitcoin went from 70,000 all the way to $17,000. That is catastrophic. And then because of this major correction, centralized lenders have gone bankrupt. There is Celsius, BlockFi, a couple of others. They are highly illiquid. And now check this out. Some banks, they want to buy them out. Supposedly, like Citibank, they want to buy Celsius. I mean, that is kind of ridiculous. Ridiculous, because cryptocurrency is supposed to be decentralized. So I mean, the markets are so terrible, you don't want to look at it. You don't want to hear about it. You don't even want to think about it, because it is so bad. We are halfway through the summer. I would say just grab your stuff, go to the sea and stay there 1 month near the sea somewhere and just try to chill for 1 month, because things are so terrible, you just don't want to hear anything about anything. And so we have all these, you could say, strange things happening all around us. Like the last 3 days, for example, it's been Lithuania. It has been cyber attacked for 3 days, non-stop. Lithuania. It's a hacker group which is supposed to be based in Russia. This is a retaliation for what Lithuania did to Kaliningrad. So they stopped the free flow of goods. So any trains going from Russia to Kaliningrad, they have to go through customs through Lithuania. So they decided to follow the sanctions imposed by the USA. So half of most of or 50% of the stuff cannot go through. So for the last 3 days, Lithuania has been cyber attacked non-stop. I suppose the hacker group is just testing the vulnerabilities of this country to see how far they can get. And in theory, you can knock out like a critical infrastructure through cyber attacks, like electricity, water, gas, internet providers. Anything that is connected to a computer can be hacked and can be compromised, can be destroyed. But you might say, okay, so how a cyber attack can make the lights go out in my house? Okay, so the power plant is connected to the internet. Everything nowadays is connected to the internet. So the power plant, they follow their rules electronically. So if a hacker takes control of the systems of the power plant, they can very easily make something malfunction, which can stop the flow or can destroy a critical component or system inside the power plant. They could make like some capacitors overheat, explode, and that's it. The power plant is off. It really depends how advanced the attack is. They could just destroy the whole plant, depending how advanced these hackers are. So yes, indeed, cyber attacks are a new kind of warfare, which is very effective. Now the big question is, are we already in World War III or not? This this is the question, the $1 million question: are we in World War III or not? Well, if you look at history, wars usually they last for years, decades, and sometimes even hundreds of years. For example, England was officially at war with France for more than 100 years. Can you imagine that? More than 100 years officially at war with another country. It's a long time. And the past world wars, World War I, World War II, they took decades to unfold. Let's say 1 decade. And here's the funny thing, here's the kicker. If you are going through a world war, you usually don't know that you are in one until you are halfway through. Halfway through, it is the time where all the participating countries have officially declared war at each other, and they are officially trying to attack each other. This is usually halfway through. So, if we are in World War III, we are just at the very beginning of this. Like, nobody has obviously declared any official status of war against anybody. But there is all these alternative ways of warfare, like economic sanctions, cyber attacks, economic warfare. We have all these alternative things going on at the moment. So if we are in World War III already, we are like at the very beginning of this. We still have 10 more years to go minimum. Could be 20 years. Or it depends how crazy these things can get. We could be in for 100 years of World War III, I don't know. So in these circumstances, what can anybody do? Well, if we are in something like a long period of time of a world war, the best that you can do as an individual would be to continue living your own life at your own pace. Because as an individual, there is really nothing that you can do about it. It is like two mountains trying to fall on each other, and you're like a grain of sand at the bottom of the mountain. There is nothing that you can really do about it. So, as an individual, I suppose you should try to live your life by your own rules, at your own pace, by your own decisions. So even if we are at the beginning of a world war, as an individual, you should just keep on going with your own life. Decide your own path. Make your own choices. Set a goal and try to get there. But the question is, if this is a world war, where could you be safe? A lot of intellectuals, a lot of smart people, a lot of philosophers, you could say, their favorite choices of countries to go to, it is 1, Argentina, 2, New Zealand, and 3, Antarctica. If you would like to live in Antarctica. But in theory, these locations, Argentina, New Zealand, it has a very low possibility to get nuked by somebody, for sure. So by choice, like some of the elite, they are building their bunkers in these countries. Anyways, remember, as an individual, the best thing that you can do is start growing potatoes. Potatoes, this is the food. This is the food that will sustain you through the coming World War III, people. Remember, the ratio is 1 to 10. You put in the ground 10 kilograms of potatoes, you will get within 130 days, you will get something like, you put down 10 kilograms, you will get something like 100 kilograms of potatoes. 1 to 10 ratio. You don't even need amazing dirt or amazing fertilizer. Potatoes are something miraculous, you could say. Just drop it in the dirt and come back later to see what happened. You could say potatoes are the choice of the post-apocalyptic survivalist, the official sponsor of the Wasteland Survivor. Also, potatoes, besides being used as food, it can be used as fuel, and it can also be converted into alcohol for drinking. You can make a very delicious vodka out of potatoes. But yeah, I'm not so sure people, or most of people, are aware of the pickle we're in, because we're in a pickle. We're in a situation where big countries, they're playing a chess game of, you could say, a death match. Chess for conquering and domination. The pieces are moving across the board, and slowly the possible moves that the opponent can make are becoming less and less. So we are getting to a checkmate kind of position. Perhaps not checkmate, but we are getting to a point where certain decisions, certain outcomes are more likely than others. And today you can see that the world is being split into two positions. You could say it's the West versus the East. If you follow the news at all, like yesterday there was like the G7 meeting of nations, which is mostly the USA and pals. You know, the USA, Europe, Canada, Japan. So the star team, the American team together, the so-called G7. And check this out. What is like really funny is that the whole meeting was about Russia and China. Like, what are we going to do about this and them, and more sanctions left to right, and something to counter their moves and their power and whatever. I mean, the USA itself is falling apart from the inside, and the leadership of this country, they only care about, and the leadership of the USA, they only care about fighting with China and Russia. Instead of looking inwards, they're just looking outwards. In the USA, there is a huge amount of homeless people because of the economic situation, because it is really bad. So you can go to major cities and they have a huge problem with homeless people and drug addiction and all this kind of bad stuff. So the USA and the leadership of this country, instead of looking inwards to the problems inside their country, they're looking outwards. If you know history, if you are a student of history, if you know about the Roman Empire, there are so many interesting similarities, which is kind of funny and scary at the same time. One very peculiar parallel, you could say, not just between the USA and the Roman Empire, but about most empires through history. It is that at the peak of most empires, what usually happens is the total and absolute debasement of their currency. So it means the empire is bankrupt and they are used creating money out of thin air, which is currently what the USA is doing. But it's not only the USA. Throughout history, most empires, they get to this point just before their collapse and decline. This is the key sign that their debasement of their currency. Probably next podcast is going to be about the rise and fall of the Roman Empire. So that's all for today. I will see you next time. Enjoy the music, enjoy the weekend.
Welcome to the Polar Homestead. We learn finance, permaculture and prepping, a modern view of the world. Don't forget, freedom is in your hands. Stay safe and vigilant, friends. And now your host, Ralph KK. Launch in 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Welcome to the
Ralph KK. It has been a very, very hot summer, full of experiences and weird things happening all around. As you might have noticed, every week something new is happening, sometimes some weird stuff or strange stuff, or just out of the ordinary, almost every day. This has been like a very meaningful summer. Too many things happening at once. Well, I mean, you just have to check out the news and then you will see what's happening. But in general, what I can tell you, that it is particular about this summer, it is the very weird weather. The weather is extremely weird. As many scientists have said, the ecosystem of the Earth could be collapsing, or it is collapsing. Like, we don't really know, or we won't really know until we cross like a certain line, when or after we cannot go back. So as I was telling you, the weather is very weird this year. We are in the middle of July, and check this out. Most of the plants, they are already changing their system to prepare for the winter. This is too early. We are like 1 month and a half too early. Like in nature, the plants should change to winter mode just when autumn starts, and this is usually in September or October, depending on the weather. This means that the temperatures go lower. It is much colder at night for sure, and during the day sometimes. And this change of weather, it is like a sign for the plants that winter is coming. So they have to change their whole system and prepare for winter, so go into winter mode. And today it is just absolutely crazy. The plants right now, they're already changing into winter mode, as if we are already in autumn, but we are not in autumn. We are in the middle of July, and this is absolutely so strange. What I have noticed is the temperatures are getting more extreme. Like, during the day it is too hot, and at night it is too cold. So during the day we have usually 30 plus Celsius, let's say between 27 plus and 33 plus Celsius, which in somewhere which is in Northern Europe, close to the North Pole, this is absolutely crazy. Okay, so check this out. We are in the middle of July, and at night the temperature can go as low as 5 Celsius. It will not touch 0, but it will go to 10 Celsius, 5 Celsius. And this is really bad. For people that don't grow food, or that they are not farmers, or they don't understand the cycles, usually to grow crops or to grow food, you need a stable weather, because plants, they all grow in different seasons, and they need a specific kind of weather which they are specifically made for. And if the weather it is either too hot or too cold when it is not supposed to be like this, then you start seeing in nature something like a short circuit. Like plants, they don't understand which season it is, and some plants will not grow if it is too cold or too cold. And some plants will not grow if it is too hot or too cold. For example, corn. You need 4 months of stable warm weather. Something around minimum 15 Celsius up to 25 Celsius. The weather needs to be stable because corn usually produces the fruit in later stages, like depending where you are. So it usually produces the fruit just before autumn, like 1 month before. So if you are in the middle of May and the temperature suddenly drops to 10 Celsius or 5 Celsius at night, this will cause corn to think that autumn is coming and they need to change their cycle. So either they try to produce fruit or they just start to die because the winter is coming. Also, corn will not tolerate cold weather. If at night the temperature suddenly drops to 5 Celsius, this will cause damage to your corn crop. So the temperature should always be not below 15 Celsius, or else the corn can get damaged or start to think that winter is coming. This is just one example, but in general, to grow food you need stable temperatures, like 3 months of this, 3 months of that, 3 months of something else, but stable temperatures of usually 3 months, 4 months. And then this is how the seasons work, this is how you grow food. But this year the temperatures, they're just erratic, too hot, too cold, or strange things happening, like one day you get rain, then the next day it's just hot and dry, or I don't know, somewhere you start snowing. I don't know. It is just too crazy. Is the environment collapsing? This is what a lot of people say, and we will not really know until we have crossed a line from which we cannot go back. Besides all the crazy things with the weather, how do you like your summer riots, people? Last week, I think, the Sri Lankan government completely collapsed, so there is no more Sri Lankan government. Then these political collapses, they are starting to spread to other countries, followed by social unrest. All of this caused by either inflation or a bad economy or lack of food, or the food prices being too high and people they cannot afford, and then you see riots everywhere. I mean, you look left, you look right, there is just bad things happening. What I would suggest to you is to get your potatoes, start growing your potatoes, and get a homestead somewhere in the forest and grow potatoes all around the homestead. I believe this will save you during the zombie apocalypse which might be coming. Potatoes, they are our savior, our only savior. So yeah, this year has been absolutely crazy. And just wait, the year is not finished at all. We still have something like 5 months to go, I suppose. The very interesting part is going to be in winter, because the worldwide situation of energy crisis, particularly in Europe, where they cannot get enough gas or oil to fuel the European economy. And can you imagine if Europe, particularly Germany, they cannot get enough gas to power their industries, or even to power the homes of their people during winter? It's going to be very chaotic. So I think they will have 50% less of what they had last year. So what are they going to do? What are they supposed to do? Nobody knows. Today I was reading online that some people in Germany, they have decided to take less showers because the prices for water, electricity, gas on, they are too high for the average person to pay. According to me, they have doubled or tripled from the prices of last year. So some people have decided to stop taking showers. I guess we're just going back to the Middle Ages, yeah, where people used to shower once a month or once every 6 months, and that was considered the pinnacle of a healthy living, the pinnacle of personal hygiene. Take a shower or a bath once every 6 months, I will just be okay. No need for your gas, no need for your electricity, no need for your water. Anyways, it's going to be a very tough winter for a lot of countries. And probably the situation will keep getting worse and worse and worse. 2022, 23, 24, 25, each year getting worse. So what can you do in these circumstances? Well, what I would do is get a nice big home outside of the city, somewhere in the forest, with a big piece of land, and start growing your potatoes. Potatoes will save you during the zombie apocalypse. By the way, according to Agenda 2032, everything is going according to plan. First, we see a destruction of the current system, followed by a rebirth of a new system. Perhaps we are living through the Great Reset, who knows? And if you're so unfortunate to live in a big city, I would highly recommend you to start buying pasta. Use buckets and buckets of pasta for storage. According to scientific research, it says that you can eat pasta even after 20 years of being in storage. That storage being a cold place with stable temperature, maybe like 5 Celsius, in the darkness, and vacuum sealed. So you could buy a couple of bags of pasta in plastic bags already airtight. You just buy like a couple of them, just pile them on top of each other, put them in another plastic box, and then seal the plastic box. And this is your apocalypse pasta box to last 20 years. Another important thing is to have some water. If you're in a big city, you need water for sure, to drink and to use stuff. So if you're in the city, get your pasta, get your water, and some iodine pills. The 3 golden stars for your checklist. And so that is for today. I will see you soon with more exciting summer news and more about the apocalypse.
Found some eyes that see me from the inside. Nothing left to hide, not even from myself. Very soul, dear. Find your darkest parts and let the light in. I wanna call you mine. Kiss the night goodbye, and we'll be holding on to the morning dawn, darling. We two together, holding on. Tell me what you want, darling. We two together, you and me, holding on to the morning dawn, darling. We two together, holding on. Tell me what you want, darling. We two together, you and me. We can spend our days walking on the bright side. Never have to hide again. Together never has to end. And we'll be holding on to the morning dawn, darling. We two together, holding on. Tell me what you want, darling. We two, we will be together, you and me, holding on to the morning dawn, darling. We two together, holding on. Tell me what you want, darling. We two together, you and me. Ooh.
Welcome to the Polar Homestead. We learn finance, permaculture and prepping, a modern view of the world. Don't forget, freedom is in your hands. Stay safe and vigilant, friends. And now your host, Ralph KK. Launch in 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
This is me, your host, Ralph KK. It is the summer, or more or less, it's still the summer because in around 2-3 weeks, autumn is coming. The place where I live, most of the time around the 1st of September, yeah, just like clockwork, the weather flips, and the 1st of September you will get this autumn weather. So it is very cold, it is very rainy, it is very windy, and the trees, nature, it starts turning red, depending how fast this process goes or already started. So you might see the 1st of September like everything red, leaves falling and these autumn vibes. The thing is, this year has just been crazy. I don't know, I don't have any kind of living memory of having such a crazy year with all so many things happening at once. What to do, you might say, what to do? My best advice for you is get your potatoes and start growing potatoes. This might be your only way of survival for the coming apocalypse. Although, there are, I suppose there are other options, there are other plants that you could grow, but I don't know, I think in my own opinion, potatoes are the easiest, most caloric dense and crop giving multiplier that you could get. So grow your potatoes and get ready for the apocalypse. So today's podcast is going to be about cryptocurrency, particularly Bitcoin. Currently in the news, you would see everybody saying that, oh, Bitcoin, it is dead, cryptocurrency, it is dead, everything is going to zero. And believe me when I tell you this is not the first time that I've heard this. So crypto has existed for, let's say, 12 years. I mean, like, since Bitcoin was created. This has been 12 years. And we have seen something like 4 or 5 cycles of bear, bull market, bear, bull, so 4 or 5 cycles, yeah. So, and every bear cycle, which is usually every 4 years, the same thing happens. Mainstream media, celebrities, influencers, everybody says Bitcoin is dead, cryptocurrency is dead, it is going to zero. And it's kind of funny to watch it. I mean, me personally, to see these people, and every time, every cycle you see new people who has not experienced this. So influencers, mainstream media, celebrities, people that you see in the news, new people, they come, they have never experienced this, and they always say the same thing. They say Bitcoin is dead, it's going to zero. It is very funny to watch because every time they say this, they are wrong. Why Bitcoin cannot die, or why cryptocurrency cannot die? Well, the explanation is rather complex, but in general, the main idea is that cryptocurrency, this is an idea, a technology, a concept that exists. It has existed for 12 years. This is in the mind of people, the concept is in the mind of people, and whatever happens Even if it goes to zero, cryptocurrency will not cease to exist. But it will never go to zero because there will always be people who find value in all these kind of different cryptocurrencies. And as long as there is people who find value, there will be cryptocurrencies with a price. So they will never go to zero. This is just not possible. So every time somebody says cryptocurrency is going to zero, they will disappear, whatever. They don't know what they are talking about. Then, secondly, when people say Bitcoin specifically is going to zero, they absolutely don't understand the concept or the idea of what Bitcoin is. So to make it short, Bitcoin is a deflationary currency. Every 4 years, the daily mining rewards, they are cut in half. So the production of Bitcoin every 4 years, it is reduced, and it's going to be reduced for the next 100 years until it reaches the maximum cap, which is 21 million coins of Bitcoin. Of these 21 million coins, already probably 5 million have been lost, so probably the total supply is going to be like 16 million. And I think within the next 100 years there is only left like 2 million Bitcoin to be mined. So the supply, it is extremely scarce. So as every 4 years the production gets cut in half, it becomes more and more scarce, and this will keep going for 100 years. So when people say that Bitcoin is going to zero, this just sounds like stupidity. Or the people who say this, they just sound very dumb when you really understand what Bitcoin is. Then, second point of Bitcoin, it is that it is decentralized. You have nodes, let's say computers, all around the world connected to the internet, and each computer, each node, it hosts all the transactions of the Bitcoin network from 12 years ago until now. So each node in each different country, in different places all around the world, it is hosted by people, by organizations, by companies, all kinds of different hosts, let's call it like this, different hosts. The numbers, they are not exactly accurate, but there is hundreds of thousands of people hosting Bitcoin nodes. You don't need to be mining Bitcoin to be a host. To have a node, you don't need to mine Bitcoin. So you can host a node on a calculator, basically, on a Raspberry Pi. These very cheap mini computers, you buy them for like $50, $100, and you can host your Bitcoin node on a Raspberry Pi. You are just, if you host a node, you are checking the validity of the transactions and reassuring the consensus that this is right and that this is true. So this is how the network works. So the meaning of Bitcoin being decentralized, this means that there is not just one entity behind the network. There is hundreds of thousands of people, entities that have their nodes. Therefore, it is impossible to get rid of Bitcoin or to destroy it or to control it. It is just impossible. Therefore, you cannot kill Bitcoin and Bitcoin cannot go to zero. These are the two main points. And now check this out. We are at a critical point of the bear market. A lot of people think that the price will keep going down to $15,000, $10,000, $5,000 per coin. this is highly unlikely. And today I'm gonna tell you a little secret. There is a chart called the rainbow chart. The Bitcoin rainbow chart. This shows you the lowest point in time and price, and also highest point in time and price that Bitcoin is at during a specific time. So when in the rainbow chart, the price of Bitcoin, it is like it is called the rainbow chart because there is like different colors. Right now it is in the blue zone, and this is the lowest possible zone where it could be. This is all based obviously in mathematical calculations, AI and so on, yeah. So today we're at the lowest point in the blue zone that where it could get. So in theory, we could be, or we are at the bottom of the bear market. And so far, for approximately 10 years, maybe 10, maybe 8, when this chart was created, for this time it has always proven to be right. In the rainbow chart, when Bitcoin reaches the blue zone, this usually marks the bottom of a market. Also, during bull markets, when it goes high and it reaches almost the red zone, this like red purple, this also usually shows you the top of the Bitcoin market where it currently is at. So what does this mean? This could mean that if you buy Bitcoin today at the price that is at in the blue zone, which today it is like $22,000, this could mean that you're buying at the real price or a undervalued price. So you could buy today and not be afraid that tomorrow will drop to 10,000 or 5,000 or whatever. Of course, this is never guaranteed, but it is highly likely. In my own personal experience for the past 10 years in the cryptocurrency market, I have usually bought cryptocurrency when Bitcoin is at or in this blue zone at the bottom. It's almost like clockwork. Of course, it might always go lower, it might go down, but this point, it is always the bottom, regardless if it stays there 6 months, 1 year, whatever. It could even stay there 1 year, 2 years, but this is the bottom. So also you should consider when you're making like investments, you don't buy something today to sell it in 1 month or 2 weeks or whatever. When you make investments, you're usually going to sit on it for years. Like you buy a house today, you have to sit on it for, I don't know, 3-5 years, 10 years to make a profit. So when you make investments, you have to think like going for the really long term. Today might just be the day where Bitcoin has bottom. Also in the cryptocurrency market, a very big important event is going to happen with Ethereum. It is called the merge, when Ethereum is moving from proof of work to proof of stake. It is being scheduled for approximately like 1 month. So sometime in September, like from 1 month from now, like the 15th of September or something like this, the chain will transition to proof of stake. If you're not sure what proof of work or proof of stake is, I think you should Google it. You will get longer, better explanations. I could just tell you here in 1 minute, yeah? So, also when a chain is forked, something magical happens. When a chain transitions from the old chain to the new chain, there can be many different forks. So let's say you have 1 Ethereum in your wallet. Ethereum transitions to proof of stake. So one chain will be accepted as the true successor or the real Ethereum. And you will have your 1 Ethereum equals 1 Ethereum of the new chain. That is going to be Ethereum. But usually there are many forks. So there could be maybe 5 forks of other chains which claim to be the true Ethereum or whatever. So your 1 Ethereum of the real chain, you will also have your 1 Ethereum in the other chains that claim to be Ethereum. So this can be like some kind of smart move or money-making move. If you have some Ethereum, then you go claim the other coins, the forked coins, and then you go either sell it or you keep it, or I don't know, but you will get the other 4 coins for free. The magical word, free. So even though we are in a bear market, the cryptocurrency market is very active and sparkly. What I mean is, regardless of the crash that has happened, because the value of these cryptocurrencies have lost at least, I don't know, 80% of their value, at least, something like this. Even though this has happened, the people, the developers, the technologies, they just keep going forward, regardless of the price. All of these technologies, they keep going forwards, and I might even say that today the development happening is maybe 100 times higher or better than what it was the last cycle in 2017. There are so many applications, products, dApps, all of these things being developed, and there is a huge amount of people involved and working in this, which makes me think that maybe the next cycle in 2024 or 2028, then maybe all of these technologies will finally be implemented all around us, as the so-called utopia of the cryptocurrency people say. And also, in another news, guess what? NFTs, they have not died, and NFTs, they are not going away, regardless of what people say or what people think, because there is so many people that hate on NFTs. It's just a ridiculous amount of people who hate NFTs, and it's just funny to watch or see like these people completely dedicate their whole time, their whole existence to bash or to talk bad about NFTs. It's just amazing. There is a lot of YouTubers which dedicate their whole channel to talk about how bad NFTs are. And before, let's say 1 year ago, 2 years ago, they were just doing their usual thing, be either journalism or video games or whatever. And now today they dedicate their whole life to talk bad about NFTs. Why? I don't know, I just don't understand this kind of people. Maybe they get more a bigger audience when you hate on something than when you are like positive about something. I don't know. Well, yes, there is a lot of you could say thievery and illegal things happening with NFTs, but as any new technology, as any new product, there will be a lot of experimentation, a lot of things where there is no definition in the law of what you should do or you should not do. Therefore, a lot of you could say illegal things happen, but sometimes not intentional. Sometimes just because there are no rules or restrictions or laws that specifically dictate that you can or you cannot do this. and sometimes this kind of illegal activities with new technologies, sometimes this kind of behavior is needed to push the establishment towards a more friendly or freer nature of copyright or use cases for content. Like last week, for example, there was like a huge scandal with the GameSpot marketplace for NFTs, where some guy, he was posting games made into NFTs, and the games that he was posting, they were not his own games. They were like open source, and he was just taking the code. He implemented them as games and he made them NFTs, and he was selling the NFTs. And then he said, oh no, this is open source, this has no copyright, I can do with this whatever I want. So he was making money from this. He made like $50,000, which is not a lot of money. It is not a lot of money in the NFT space, as when you sell something, this is like peanuts. But people, they made such a huge scandal that why are you taking these games and putting them into NFTs if they don't belong to you, so on and so forth. So the thing is, this is a new technology. There are no rules or specific rules for what you can and you cannot do with NFTs. And sometimes the establishment needs a little push towards a specific direction, so that they are forced to do something which is or can be beneficial for the consumer or for people in general. I could give you an example from the past. Not so long ago, the music industry and the music companies, they had an absolute monopoly on everything, on how music was created, how music was distributed, who would be famous, who would not be famous. Basically, record companies, they made or killed the career of artists. And also all the money in the past, let's say in the 80s up to the 90s, let's say 95, let's say up to 95, all the money went to the record companies, and even today it still goes, but before it was a ridiculous amount of money, like 70%, and 70% to the record company and 30% to the artist. And what happened, you could say, or you could ask, what happened that made the market change? So before there was no internet. Before you had to go to the record shop and you had to buy a cassette, a CD, or some kind of media, and then you would be able to listen to your music, or films, or a specific content, specific media. You had to buy it, and this was only for your personal use. You could only listen to this, but you couldn't do anything else with this. Just listen to this, but don't do anything else with this. And the music industry, they have such a iron grip on the whole market. They wouldn't let anybody do anything without their permission. And then what happened? Some smart guy in the USA created this application called Napster. It was a revolution. You could copy your tracks from your CD, turn them into MP3s, and then distribute these MP3s for free across the internet through torrent, basically something similar to torrent technology. So you would open the application, you would select the track that you want to share, and this would be put into the internet, into the library of Napster of what was being shared, and then so you could search and download specific songs. This was revolutionary. This had never happened before, and so people, they were distributing all these songs for free, peer to peer. And when this happened, oh my gosh, the record industry was furious. And because there were no laws or definitions on how to handle this, it actually took them like a couple of years to finally take down Napster. I think it took them maybe 2-3 years to finally put down Napster and to completely close down the service and the software. But the idea of what Napster was, it was already the concept, it was in the mind of people. So as soon as Napster was taken down, like 100 copycats just came out with the same thing. So the torrent technology was created and distributed, and the concept was out there, the idea was out there, and you could not kill it. So all these applications started to come out and started to do the same thing. Share music, share media, share content. And this is how the music industry, they lost their grip. They gripped the iron grip on everything. They were forced to come to terms with people to be less strict, and somehow they had to evolve. They started to accept the distribution of music online, but this took several years. This took something like 10-15 years. And it was, at the time, it was kind of funny because there were some artists which were very vocal about this, that they were against the distribution of their content because it belonged to them. And if you were downloading a song from Metallica, for example, you were contributing to the bankruptcy of Metallica and their record company. Even though they were making hundreds of millions of dollars, your one song, it was damaging them, which was kind of absurd, and it is absurd today. So Napster, this new technology, it forced everything to change. And for example, if Napster never came out, never was created, if torrent technology never came out, never was created, then history would have been different. And then all these companies, all these corporations, they would have never been forced to change. They would have kept with their bad policies, bad acting, and just keep on piling money and do nothing for the consumer. So this is my point, that with NFTs, there is a lot of bad behavior, there is a lot of illegal things happening, but it is a new technology, and sometimes you need this kind of behavior to force laws, to force legislations, to force change in people. This is how you do it. And a lot of people would not like it.
I finally found some eyes that see me from the inside. Nothing left to hide, not even from myself. Oh, 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 oh. I wanna call you mine and feel our worlds collide, and we'll be holding on to the morning dawn, darling, we two. darkest parts and let the light in. Oh, 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 I wanna call you mine and kiss the night goodbye, and we'll be holding on to the morning dawn, darling. We together, holding on. Tell me what you want, darling. We together, you and me, holding on to the morning dawn, darling. We together, holding on. Tell me what you want, darling. We together, you and me. We can spend our days walking on the bright side. Never have to hide again. Together never has to end. And we'll be holding on to the morning dawn, darling. We together, holding on. Tell me what you want, darling. We will be together, you and me, holding on to the morning dawn, darling. We together, holding on. Tell me what you want, darling. We together, you and me.
Welcome to the Polar Homestead. We learn finance, permaculture and prepping, a modern view of the world. Don't forget, freedom is in your hands. Stay safe and vigilant, friends. And now your host, Ralph KK. Launch in 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Welcome to the apocalypse. It is me, your host, Ralph KK. And today I want to tell you that winter is coming. Yeah, but I mean, like, seriously, there is only 4 months left of this year. The year 2022, where so many crazy things happened. It is hard to believe that everything just happened all at once. I mean, every day it is just lit, it's on fire. I mean, like, literally on fire. Today we have a very chill topic, or kind of relaxed. We're gonna talk about TV shows. And right now there are 2 very popular TV shows that have just been released or are about to be released. So these 2 TV shows are The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power by Amazon, and Game of Thrones, The House of the Dragon. We are halfway through TV season. We have a lot of hyped up TV shows that came out. So this summer we have 2 big TV shows that everybody's talking about. So we have Game of Thrones and The Lord of the Rings. And you could say that they are both opposites in the way that they are being received by the public and the way that the creators made the show. So, for example, the Lord of the Rings TV show, there is a huge controversy about it because the producers, they just put woke politics all around the TV show, like sprinkled here and there. And besides that, they massacred the Tolkien literature from what the TV show is based on. And if you go online, you go to the internet, there's just like a huge scandal, you could say, a huge scandal between the fans, between the mainstream media, between the producers, the creators of this TV show. So like everybody just fighting with each other. So what happened with this TV show? Well, I don't want to go into specifics, but they just put too much woke politics, and they twisted the literature into something that is not Tolkien. This is the main complaint, that the TV show is something like fan fiction because they just changed too many things. So when you are creating a film or a TV show based on some specific literature, you have to follow the story, the rules of this literature, so that you are able to call this content, you are able to call it from what it's supposed to be based on. So if you are going to make a Lord of the Rings TV show, it should be specifically based on the books or literature, whatever, and it should be the same, or it cannot be similar, it has to be the same as what the story says. So the problem with this TV show is that it's something like fan fiction because they are just creating like a random interpretations of the story and the characters, modern interpretations of Tolkien, which nobody asked for. It's actually quite funny to see how people are fighting because it's something like a war of words. You go to Twitter and then the main actors, they are fighting with the fans, like arguing, and then this is getting like pretty aggressive. The actors, they are calling fans by names or trolls or even using bad words. So the pushback from the fans is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I think, and almost everybody on the internet thinks that this TV show is going to be a big failure. And Amazon invested something over $1 billion. Supposedly the most expensive TV show ever made. They're spending something like $60-something million per episode, plus the rights for the literature, whatever. So this is going to be a very expensive blunder. So the problem here is, if you are like a media company, you're some Hollywood studio, whatever, you want to be creative, make like something of your own creation, like fan fiction, whatever, yeah? So here's the problem. Why do you have to use an existing franchise or an existing piece of literature or a name of something that is already established? Why do you have to use or get or buy an existing franchise to create something that is going to be fan fiction, or that is going to be what you want to create? So basically Hollywood or these media companies, they buy the rights for some franchise, and then they create whatever they want, which is not connected to the franchise. And the reason they do this is because if they went out there, they produced a film or a TV show with no name, and they created their fan fiction, their interpretations, their ideas, whatever, with no name whatsoever. So here's the problem: nobody would watch it, nobody would go see it. It would be a failure. So the solution, according to these Hollywood executives, is to buy established franchises and then to create some content using the name of these franchises. And this content is usually some interpretation or creation to what the media company or producers they want to do. And this is the problem. This is why people they get angry. And sometimes the ideas of these Hollywood producers they used, sometimes they are too very specific to what they think themselves, and they just want to spoon-fed these ideas to the general public, even though the general public, or most of people, they don't want anything to do with these ideas, or they don't want to consume this content. And this is why we see a revolt on Twitter, on YouTube, and people are pushing back because people are tired of this. I suppose this started like a long time ago when first Disney they bought Star Wars, and then they started to create their interpretations of the lore, their own ideas of how the franchise should grow or evolve or to be adapted to modern times. When you just buy a franchise and you don't follow the existing literature, like the following rules, you're going to make people angry. You're going to make the fans angry, because when these Hollywood companies they create their interpretations of already existing literature, this is basically changing the whole rules of the game. You are interpreting to your own ideas what are something that already exists. This is why fans they get angry. It is not about the content or who is playing what or what it takes place in these new films. The problem is that you buy the franchise and then you change it to something else that it is not what the fans like, what the people are used to. So like I said before, you want to create your own elf, fantasy, modernize, pseudo, neo, modernism, whatever you want to call it. Okay, you can go and create whatever you want. Nobody's stopping you from doing this. But why do you have to go and buy existing franchises and then stamping it with something else that is not? So almost everybody besides the blue check marks, almost everybody expects the new Lord of the Rings TV show to fail, to be a big failure, to be a big $1 billion blunder. On the other side of this we have the new TV show of Game of Thrones, yeah? A lot of fans were very disappointed 5 years ago with the last season of Game of Thrones, because again we have these producers, these media companies that want to make their interpretations of the lore of something. They change it and then the fans they used feel terribly disappointed, because also the last season of Game of Thrones 5 years ago, the last season, it was created by the producers. They didn't use the literature, the book, because the book is still even today is not finished. So the last season, it was a creation of the producers. It was not based on any books. So the previous seasons, they were entirely based on the books, and this is why it was so successful. Anyways, the new season of Game of Thrones, it is also based on a book, and the people involved, the producers, they are new people. So this kind of heals the wounds left by the previous showrunners. And to the surprise of many, actually, the TV show was quite acceptable. It was not terrible, it was not amazing, but it was acceptable. And some of the characters, they are well played. I already have a favorite. It is this guy, the bad boy called Daemon Targaryen. He's the brother of the king. He has like a very narcissistic personality. You could say self-destructive, egoistic, egocentric. He's just like an anti-hero, but to my own opinion, he's kind of funny. So I watched the first episode. It was quite okay. Without giving out any spoilers, there is dragons, there is drama, and there is the new Targaryen queen, which, well, okay, she's going to fight for her throne. She wants to get the throne for herself, and I suppose the whole first season is going to be about her trying to get the throne. I also saw the trailer for the second episode, and we're gonna have already like a big battle of the Targaryen army fighting against invaders, like near the beach. There is dragons, there is fire, there's lots of action. And also, not surprisingly, the fans of Game of Thrones, they are kind of accepting the new TV show because they didn't change the lore. I mean, there is a little bit of, or a few sprinkles of woke politics here and there, but they don't go over the limit. They don't make such dramatic changes that people would say, oh no, this is not Game of Thrones. No. So because of this, because this TV show, this new TV show of Game of Thrones, it follows the books how it should be. Maybe they changed maybe less than 5% of reality of what's in the books. And so the changes, they are not so dramatic, so people accept it and people are not revolting. If you also want to see some more drama on the internet, on Twitter and YouTube, you can go check out the fight between Hollywood actors, Hollywood producers, and fans of the Marvel universe, and blue check marks and everything. So they are fighting about She-Hulk, new TV series on Disney Plus, and the whole TV show is like woke politics 90%, and it seems that it's going to be a big failure. I mean, nobody's watching it, the ratings are tanking, there is people fighting on the internet over it, and the fans, they will just not take this anymore. Perhaps this is what's happening, yeah, I mean, on the internet, that so many people are fighting against each other over simple things like TV shows. Maybe this is a mirror, a reflection of our society, of how the society is crumbling. By the way, did you guys hear there is a shortage of potatoes? Do you hear this? There is no potatoes. You see, I told you guys to get your potatoes, to start growing your potatoes, because potatoes will save you during the apocalypse. Another big TV show that is currently playing is Westworld, the new season. I think it's the 4th season, and I watched the first few episodes, and actually, you won't believe me this, but this season is much better than the previous 2 seasons. Still, I think the first one, the first season, was the best one. The second one, the third one, they were like meh, so. But the new season is somewhat interesting. So according to what I watched, the robots, they are taking over. They are taking over human hosts. They get rid of them, and then they replace the human host with an android. And what is not clear still is if what happens to the human host. Some of them they're just killed. Some of them they're just in some episode they show that like a human is frozen, cryogenically frozen, something like this, and they make a copy of the brain into the android or something like this, something very complicated. Anyways, it's very interesting. I've watched maybe 2-3 episodes and they are just fine. Very much popcorn entertainment. So we still have 2 weeks of summer. You can watch some TV shows and enjoy what's left of the summer, because winter is coming. There's only 4 months left till winter comes, and it looks like it's going to be like a very tough winter. Today I was reading the news, and believe me or not, in Germany they are running out of toilet paper, and according to them, they don't have energy, so electricity to manufacture the toilet paper. So electricity and some materials for the toilet paper. So this winter, people in Germany, they will be cold, hungry, dirty, and with no toilet paper on top of everything. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous that the government is pushing for this kind of way around to survive this economic crisis. There is no water, no electricity, no food, so they give you some advice of what to do. So if you are hungry, you should restrain yourself, because not eating in the morning, this is very healthy for you. So you should try eating once per day. Also, in case you have some food and maybe it has become spoiled, according to what they say in the mainstream media, even if it has a little bit of mold, white mold, if it is white mold, it might be used okay for you, according to the newspapers and the mainstream media. Also, it might be very healthy if you don't take a shower, because you don't take a shower, you can economize a lot of water and electricity. So instead of a shower, try to grab like a wet cloth and just clean yourself. Like if we are in the Wild West or in the Middle Ages again. The year 2022, but we are regressing to the Middle Ages or something. So according to them, to the government, it will be very healthy for you to take a shower once a month, if you can afford it. If not, you will just do it every 6 months, like if you were a pirate in the Caribbean 500 years ago or something. Also, I have not read the guidelines of what to do if you don't have a toilet paper. I really want to see what they're gonna tell the public what to do in case they don't have toilet paper because they cannot find it in the shop. I think this is gonna be a very catastrophic and funny winter, kind of like a satire, like a cheap black satire from a cheap author in a cheap novel somewhere. Sometimes reality is funnier than fiction.